call to order the meeting of the Village of Centerwood Lake South Homeowners Association for Thursday, November the 21st, 2019. Roll call is Mary Lou Barnes.
Present.
Larry Rocco's present. Randall Anderson.
Here.
And Natalia Franklin is here. Okay.
And
Joe is absent due to a trip to New York for Thanksgiving. Okay. We'll start with notice of the meeting duly posted, David?
Yes, it was posted on November 5th.
Okay. And the approval of the minutes for October the 17th. I think everybody thought they were okay. So I make a motion, we approve those minutes for the 17th.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye, okay. The minutes for the special meeting on the 31st. I know Mary Lou had some concerns. Were they answered?
Yes,
Yes,
I
I corrected
believe,
them.
yes.
Okay.
David made a
Anybody
few.
else have any concerns with them?
No.
All right, so I make a motion, we approve the minutes for the special meeting on October 31st, 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay. Okay, I think before we get into the reports, we have a guest from Hartselle Insurance, and I think it's important that he speak first, and then we can move on.
Okay.
All right, so introduce yourself and...
Yeah, hi again.
Hi, Jay.
Jay Markas from Hartselle Insurance. And I wanted to, okay, where should I sit or should I stand? What works
Come
the
up here,
best?
why don't you?
You can come
Yeah.
wherever you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I got these.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Oh, how nice. Thank you.
There's only 6, so I hope there's a...
Don't worry.
Anyway, thank you for letting me attend the meeting, and it is kind of the time for the big insurance policy renewal. So, as you recall, I was awarded to be your agent last year, and we did end up improving coverage and saving some money by doing so. And to kind of recap, you work with Citizens Insurance for the big property policy, with the, and then we've moved over to American Coastal. They're one of the few companies in Florida that's able to handle such a large community as far as the values, that need to go on one policy. And I did tell you too that the other 2 villages of Sandalwood are also American Coastal, for whatever reason. And they're one of the top 3 to 5, condo HOA companies in Florida as far as, their appetite, and that's what they do. And so they do it well. What I've got is the proposal that I emailed. I did bring a few copies if anyone
Do we
needs
have it
one.
in the report? Is it in
This
this?
is,
You want one,
No,
Randall?
okay. I'd love to
Yeah.
have one. Yes, please.
yeah.
Thank you.
If you have another one, I'll take it.
Okay.
We can share this. if
Yeah,
it's-
Yeah, so it's a total of 12 pages, but it's pretty much just we're talking about reviewing the 3 policies that are up for renewal on December 2nd will be the property policy, the D&O, directors and officers, and the equipment breakdown. And so I have kind of a page or 2 on each one to summarize what the coverages are. And if you wanted to look on page 4, that's where the property insurance starts. So what I'm summarizing on page 4, at the top, who the insurance company is, what the values are. So you've really got 131 buildings, and if you flip over 2 pages, it kind of gives a summary of those, but they're all the same, right? The
Well, it
values.
says buildings 1 to 135.
Yeah, I tricked you. You know why?
Why?
Because I've got a maintenance shed, a pump station. I've got 4 more. Call them buildings. They're not really buildings, but they're property items.
I think that's misleading, though. I think they should be broken out. Actual buildings are 131.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
others are pump houses and a shed. They
Yeah.
don't
And I'm
qualify.
sure that would affect the rate.
Yes, it would.
No.
Well, I would think so.
The buildings are worth more than the pump house.
They're worth 4 or 5 times more than a pump house is.
Yeah, so the cost of the way they charge the premiums based on the total values. So,
Including the pump house.
yes,
Are
yeah.
they broken out in this breakdown?
Yeah, on page 6.
Okay.
There's actually a spreadsheet. I didn't want to print all these pages, but all 131 buildings, plus the maintenance shed, the pump enclosure, the pump station, and covered table.
The bottom
benches.
line is it has a total value of the property.
Yeah.
103
million, yeah. And where that comes from is your appraisal that was done, I think, 2017 by Joliker, and that's where these numbers come from, as far as what the replacement cost is on all the property that's owned, right? And then back on page 4, deductibles to recap. 2,500 is what's called all other perils, which would be fire, smoke, water damage, something falling on it, everything except a hurricane. Okay, so if you had a tropical storm or a tornado or a heavy thunderstorm, that deductible for the damage caused by that event would be $2,500. The only time that you're going to the big deductible, which would be 3% of the value of the building, is when the damage is caused by a hurricane. Okay, so that's very good coverage the way the deductibles are working in Florida. That, it's the best kind of package of deductibles.
I see you had highlighted interior, I don't know how it's worded, interior something or other. I think just to point out, because we keep having this discussion about, the verbiage in our documents.
When I was here
So I
last
kinda
year,
figured that's
yeah,
why you highlighted that. I just, in the email, I saw it.
Yes, no, you know what it was? Yeah, it's on the top of the page 6, with interior building items per bylaws.
Yeah.
So that's what it really means, is that the $785,000 per building is from the appraisal, and the appraiser includes the interior items. So I checked with David earlier, because during the year, perhaps you were talking about seeing if you exclude those items, then it would be the unit owner responsibility. You wouldn't have to put them on here. So that didn't happen, so we're pretty much the same as we were last year as far as what we're insuring, which includes interior items, whatever your bylaws require. So yeah, I spent some time last year talking about that, and potentially to exclude those items, you could save obviously on the premium substantially.
I think we were talking
$40,000 just as a round number. And
May I ask what the covered table and benches for $4,000 is being insured?
A picnic table with the,
$4,000 to insure that table and chairs? And where is it located? Because I don't see it.
it's over by,
We're 65th way, this
Yeah, it's good.
one, but it's already falling apart.
So it's worth. So we should spend $4,000 a year to insure it.
I think we ought to get rid of that table and
Good.
chairs.
Let's have that removed.
No, leave that but not insure that. Why would
Right,
you
we
insure
don't
that?
need to insure
Yeah.
that.
Leave
Right,
that
I'm
but not
saying
insure it.
remove
You
the
would-
$4,000 insurance.
Yeah.
My God, I can go to the thrift store or Habitat for Humanity and buy one for $150.
Yeah,
Come on.
in another, I don't know, really sheds, this is pump houses that,
Well, no, I mean, we
Exactly.
did have to replace a pump house recently, so yes,
Well, we replaced
and the shed, we
part of the
replaced the
roof.
shed too.
how we can exclude interior? because of, anyway.
Well, we have to change the documents.
Or you
So
have to.
we'll address that, and I think we need to get it on for January's meeting and make sure the proper notices get out. So hopefully, we can get a quorum at the annual meeting and get that changed.
But if not, we can do like previous time. We can,
Okay.
You, yeah,
we
you
can
have
collect
the,
signatures.
Well, I mean,
You know, I have a question on that. If we just eliminate that from the policy, even though our documents say we have to, how much are we paying a year for that?
it's pennies. I mean, in the whole, out of $103 million in value, that's 4,000.
But divided by.
No, he's talking about, what are you talking about?
Interior.
I'm talking about what's the premium for covering the interior?
Oh, the interior part of
40,000,
it.
that's a lot of money.
40,000, which is
Well, what I,
$109
yeah,
a unit.
I kind of backed into it because,
I think
This
if
goes
we
back-
eliminate that 40,000 for anything that we have, we're responsible from the walls out.
Yes, yes.
And we're only responsible for interior back to original, which you can't even buy anymore.
Yeah, it is.
Now,
So
but
if we
like-
had to give somebody what it originally cost to replace like the appliances and the carpet and linoleum,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and we have one or two of those units a year, we're gonna save a lot of money instead of spending 40,000 to cover them all.
Well, and also, we have to remember with the maintenance shed, that there is stuff of value in there, there is
Yeah.
equipment and there is,
It's not too much value there if you go.
well, no, but I mean, we could probably appraise the value, replacement cost of what is in the shed, but insuring the shed,
Maybe a couple $1,000 there.
well, yeah,
Altogether,
so
we-
6,000 here. Real
we-
property.
And
about
if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am, if there's interior damage due to the association's negligence, we're responsible.
Right.
We're not responsible from an act of God or any other thing. That's up to them to have their own coverage for that type of thing.
No, I'm
We're
talking
not
about the
negligent
maintenance
too
shed.
much anymore. We get
Yeah,
things
yeah.
done and
Yeah,
taken
no.
care of.
I'm
Can I
purely
say
talking
very
about the
important?
shed.
Very important, can I say, when I help my friend to take loan from the bank, every bank require buy insurance that cover interior. They don't care about what we have. They don't know you must buy separate insurance, like county insurance.
Right.
They don't recognize that our coverage. It means it's really useless, that coverage. What we have, $40,000 saving,
That's a lot of money.
yeah, we will not,
Yeah.
we don't need any special assessment in future because we do this major project with concrete.
My thoughts are, we send a letter to everybody to make sure that everybody understands that we're only responsible if we're negligent to those conditions, and that everybody should have their own policy for act of God, or whatever you want to call it.
On the exterior of the building?
No, on the
Interior.
interior.
Oh, well, first of all, the law requires that if you rent your unit, there must be renter's insurance. And if you still hold a mortgage, which I bet a lot of our owners do, you must carry interior insurance. Yes, you do. I just recently spoke to my
Recently they
You
forced
have
do
to
that.
carry.
It depends on the bank, to be quite honest. I know for a fact that some banks require it, other banks don't.
Well,
Okay.
Bank of America, who's
I don't know
held,
if I want to switch gears, but at the
Yeah.
end, I was going to talk about unit owner insurance too, because
Right.
we can supply that, and we have supplied that to some unit owners. It kind of looks and feels like a condo association because they, buy some things for the inside, the interior, plus their contents that they moved in, plus they get loss of use, plus they get liability, and the best company for this community right now costs about $1,000 for your basic, unit owner.
Yeah, if you'll recall with Joe Costello's unit, it was because we were negligent because it happened when he was out of town. And the neighbor reported it, and Joe reported it to Sally, and Sally didn't do anything about it. That's negligence. As long as we address the problem,
well, I think I had left the board at that time.
yeah.
But I would, if I recall the discussion about it, Sally believed that the association was not responsible.
She believed we were not, right? But
Right, so that's
if
all I
we're
recall
if the
about it.
association is negligent,
Right.
we are.
Well, that has to be proven in court,
Right. But
and that never happened, or,
it never went to court.
right,
Yeah,
right, exactly,
Because
exactly.
our custodian did not, in lawyer did not want.
But Randall's shaking his head no about the homeowners inside insurance.
Mary Lou, I have bought and sold hundreds of properties.
No, I'm talking about
And
a bank's mortgage.
I have bought and sold hundreds of properties, okay? And of the ones that are properties like this, where there's an overall insurance, I've never, ever have had to buy
This year,
contents
probably.
Okay,
insurance.
well, I can
I
tell you
currently don't have.
that my
I've never
Bank of
have had.
America mortgage that I held for
Yes, I'm not
30
saying there's some-
30 years,
I'm not saying that
I
there's
had
some
to
banks that
have
don't.
my own interior insurance for
But it's
30
not
years.
Like I said, some banks require
Some
it, some
banks
don't.
are required, and I met this situation
Isn't
helping other
liability
people.
required?
It's required.
Yeah,
But nevertheless,
and I mean, on-
what's everybody's thoughts on this, Mary Lou?
Mary Lou, what?
Yeah,
We need to address this.
well, I would like, are we talking about the,
Interior.
Interior coverage, I think we should remove it from the policy.
I don't think, well, I mean, this is very unexpected. I didn't know we would be discussing this, or I wouldn't take time to think about it.
Yeah.
But the point is this, we have always, since the buildings were built, carried a certain amount of coverage for the inside, being that if there was a flood or, whatever happened, it was to be restored by the association to its original condition, which you and we've all talked about for 3 or 4 years now, and that is things like it had linoleum floors,
No, nobody have it.
blah, blah, blah. So the point is this, that I don't believe we can just stop carrying that minimal interior insurance
We
without...
we could, as long as we're willing to
No, you have to read
be
the documents.
responsible
Read
for the minimum.
documents. Read the documents.
Yeah.
I don't think we can do it without
Well, the
modifying
documents say if the association is found negligent, so
Well, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the outside and the
All
inside
right, well-
versus the inside.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the
Yeah,
documents right here.
my recollection was that, it was per your documents that you need to include it, then you
Yes.
change the documents, obviously, and then you
Well, no, the documents
exclude
have
that.
never been modified to exclude that.
Right, I'm saying if you do, then.
Right.
If we do that, we save $40,000 for association to do another.
That was my round number last
Yeah.
year, it's probably more than that, because the rates have just kind of gone up over the last year.
Now, do you have a feel for what it costs per unit to have the homeowners pay for the coverage?
Well, the quote I have here includes interior items up to $75,000.
I have
So that would-
100,000.
That would be the cabinets and
Tell you
the
what
floor
I
and
have.
wall coverings and all that. So it all depends on what they've done to it. Is it tile, or did they upgrade to high level stuff? Is it granite or is it,
Yeah.
So it all depends. But 75 is what this quote is. But everyone's different. So, this has a low amount of personal property for 20,000. Most people have more than that.
Well,
with
all right,
contents.
I carry 100,000. The reason
Yeah.
being is I have some antiques, and I have a couple of pieces of artwork that are valuable. So I carry 100,000. I only pay $109 a month for that insurance.
Yeah, so it's about $1,200 a year,
Right,
roughly. so.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's
But
good insurance, yeah.
I'm talking
Well, it's
about
all right.
the 75,000 is on things attached to the unit, not the contents. 'Cause the
Right,
contents
right.
you can move in and out, that's separate, but attached to the
So
building.
that doesn't cover appliances,
No,
TVs?
no,
or-
that would be in
No,
your
that's-
other contents.
That's the homeowner's
20,000.
responsibility, except
Okay.
for the basic.
But because when there's damage, there's always a sharing, of it. Water gets in, okay, you got damage to the wall, but you might have damage to the floor coverings and so the association would replace the sheetrock. But then who's going to do the painting on top of it or the tile on top of it or whatever? That's
We're
the unit
responsible
owner.
from the sheetrock out, from the paint out, actually. The
Wallpaper
homeowners
out.
are responsible for the paint.
Wallpaper out.
Right.
Yeah.
We're responsible for the
Wallpaper
drain.
out.
Yeah, so the way the appraisal, was put together, it includes floor covering and cabinets and countertops,
Right.
appliances, kitchen equipment, and the heating and cooling system, which is the AC unit too. So all of that stuff is on your policy now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
But the documents say that if there's a,
This is where the document.
why
Yeah.
would we have the air conditioning units on there? That's the homeowner's property.
I did not realize that that is stated in our governing documents. Restoring it to its original condition is, I believe, how it reads.
interior,
Yeah, the interior, right. So,
not the exterior
No.
air conditioning unit or the one in the closet upstairs.
No,
That's a
no.
homeowner.
And
Oh,
water heaters in here too.
no, we have to pay for our own water heater. Mine burst a year and a half ago
Well,
and
it's
flooded
in
my
your docs.
downstairs.
It's in your docs.
No, it's not.
No, it
Huh?
isn't.
No.
Well, I've got the wrong page because I'm reading it right here.
Yeah,
It
here-
says this is the copy of the docs that I was given. In the yellow section,
Yeah.
it'll say
Cabinets.
appliances. There's water heater. So
What year, do you know which ones these are? Because they were revised. I'd have to look at mine because mine are date set up. But they were modified in.
It says air conditioner in there too?
It means now
No.
if everything,
No.
something breaks.
That's
or-
an exterior
No.
component, so why are we paying insurance?
well, there's the air handler on the inside.
Well, but that's in
But
a
guess
closet
what?
upstairs.
My air handler, it blew last year or whenever it was, 2 years ago. And I didn't even put in to the association.
No.
to
There's a
replace-
difference though because
Oh.
it's not for maintenance. So the
No, it had to be
maintenance
replaced. Cost
is
me
the unit
a
owner.
couple
This
$1,000
would be as if there was a fire.
Oh,
There's
we're
a fire in the
talking about-
building,
oh, all right,
and
okay,
these are the things
Or
that
hurricane,
Okay,
probably.
all right.
yeah, hurricane,
Yeah,
fire.
okay.
Then this is
Out of our
and the way
control. Out of our control.
the way the insurance company looks at this is we know that different associations have different things. So they basically say, whatever you need will cover based on your documents, you tell us what's covered. So you set the limits of coverage. I'm happy to go back and exclude things and revise the values
Well,
down.
we can't do it until I talk to the attorney, but I think we need to,
Yeah.
And it can be done any
we
day.
need to leave it as is for now, and if we can get it changed at the annual meeting this year,
Yeah.
then we can remove
I
it.
think
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
remove, though, the covered table and chairs. Let's just have junk come pick them up, and then that's 4,000
What can jump
value.
be?
How can a table that's how many years old be worth $4,000 to insure it?
What table you talk about? It's
That
outside.
outdoor table that you're talking about.
Outside, but
It's here,
we should not take away.
but it says real property value for that table,
Understand.
$4,000. Have you ever
And
paid?
the lean-to that's,
Yeah, have you ever paid $4,000 for an outdoor table? Anybody?
Mary Lou, but we should not remove it because people use it. But if they blow, we not care. We just will not.
The point-
Don't insure it.
Just
Leave
don't
it there, but
insure
don't
it.
insure it.
Exactly.
Don't insure, yeah.
Don't
it's
insure
all.
it. But
It's
if it's rotten and somebody could fall sitting on
no,
one of the
it's
chairs.
not rotten. It's not
Okay.
rotten. It's okay, but we
Okay.
should not insure.
It's
that.
probably not that much money on the policy
It's,
anyhow.
It's-
yeah,
anyway,
I just did the basic rate. It's 30 cents per hundred of value.
Right.
So
No, but anyway, this.
But under property value, where you have 103,003, let's take 4,000 off that because we don't need that table to be valued at $4,000.
Exactly.
Sure.
In
So let's lower
some
that
other-
at 103,003 by $4,000 and have a new real property value estimate.
that's about $12 worth of. That's the premium for
I'm talking about
$12
No, but
for
no,
4,000.
Well, it's
times
still
30.
$12 we're wasting.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's
We
Yeah.
fine.
don't need.
No,
we
that's
need to
fine.
find something what we can remove because every
All right.
penny
Yeah.
counts. When you pay something,
Yeah.
nobody give you anything for free
All right.
if you go to the store.
Okay,
Okay.
let him move on.
Anything
Okay.
else to just that particular item? We can take that off.
And
Okay.
I'll discuss it with the
And
attorney.
before
on-
January,
on the
we
other.
will decide what we will do with that insurance.
Yeah, and any
coverage.
day, it can be any day of the week that you want to make the change. We make the change, you get the refund, and they amend the policies.
Right,
So,
yeah.
you're not locked in.
Yeah,
for
we'll
anything.
leave it as is until we know we can legally do it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, if we will not have quorum, we can do the same like we did at amendments like last time.
Right,
It's all now we have less people to go in and ask for.
exactly. We only need a
So-
quorum at the meeting.
Yeah, it's all.
So that's why we can get it on the agenda for the annual meeting.
Unfortunately, because this was printed out, we don't have the next, we're missing the column.
No.
Okay.
We have the personal property value and then rental income, and you can't read any of that.
Those are zeros.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but over here, see,
Yeah.
it cut it off, so I can't read
Yeah.
it, so I don't know what it says.
Yeah.
And not all the units numbers are on this one page.
Yeah, I condensed it so that the buildings are all exactly the same. So I did 1 through 12 and then 126 and the things that, you know, that they're all going to be exactly the same for $785,900.
Okay, but I'm just saying, for example, you don't have 51st Way here. You know, you're missing some student, numbers.
Yeah, I just didn't want to
Building
print
numbers, you're
2
missing
more
building.
pages.
Well, I would like
but
to see the whole
I
thing.
have the whole thing
Yeah.
in Excel, yeah.
But
Okay.
see, it's confusing because it says buildings 14 to 125, and we only have,
It's in your email.
I cannot
Well-
print out anything at the office. How many times have I had to say that for the last 3 years?
Okay, we'll get you a copy, Mary.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, move on.
Okay, so then back on page 4, I mean, we talked about the deductible. The current hurricane deductible is at 3%. I'm quoting 3% and 5% options, okay? Just because of the rates have gone up, so you can consider both. Includes building ordinance and law, which would be if a building's over 50% damaged and it had to be upgraded and taken down. That's up to whatever the county requires based on severe damage. A lot of the lenders are asking for that now, building ordinance and law. Sinkholes included, it's the way the company includes it. It's not anything that you're charged extra for. They're not in a high sinkhole zone here. Equipment breakdown, $10 million. Yeah, there's a sublimit of equipment breakdown. That would really come into play for the pumps and equipment kind of things. And then there's also an enhancement endorsement. I got the detail of it on the next page. But to me, the important things are sewer drain backup and wet and dry rot, mold. The mold can come up sometimes, and the reason this is treated that way is because most of these coverages on here are either limited or excluded. I'm on page 5. So this company is offering, and a couple others do, just an enhancement that would give you some of that coverage back that generally gets excluded. Any questions on 5?
Outdoor signs,
Yep.
can you elaborate on that? At $20,000, limit of liability, what outdoor signs?
Yes, if you had a sign that was attached to the building that you own, it would be covered for physical damage up to $20,000 if there was one or more.
Does that cover the,
Yeah, the entrance street with the
entrance.
wall.
If you own them,
Yeah.
are they yours?
yeah, the wall with
The wall with
name
Sandalwood
on it?
Lake South.
Yeah.
On Cumberland, corner of Cumberland. That's the only place our name is,
Yeah,
really.
we've got 3 of them.
Got 3 of them.
Yeah, right, but we don't have on
we
each
have three
building,
monuments,
on each
yeah.
building,
No.
all we have is the,
No, he's,
But a vehicle could hit them, a hurricane damage, falling objects, that kind of thing, subject to your
I've
deductible.
seen many of them driven through around
yeah,
South.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But-
to me, the
Do
ones
we
that,
need to insure as much as $20,000?
What's it gonna cost to replace those?
That main one over on Village is gonna cost that much to replace.
To build the brick wall?
Yeah.
To build it? I got a guy who do it for a hell of a lot less.
So this package here on page 5 is something that's just like fixed and they give it to you. Some of it you need, some of it you don't need. It's not
Yeah,
a per item
we
extra
need to
charge.
know what we don't need, yeah.
It's just included. But if there's some things that are concerned that you need more coverage, then we have to deal with that, separately.
Valuable papers and records, 500,000.
Correct.
What is it? Who has valuable papers and records?
Yeah, so imagine an association that had an office, that had a manager in the office, that had file cabinets with
We
things
don't have
inside
it.
of that.
We don't have it.
Right, but they're giving this for free. So some people need it and some don't.
But
But
it
it's,
cannot be for free. How they can give us 500,000 coverage for free?
they are.
Well, it's built into the premium somewhere.
Yeah, I don't have a charge for it. I can't say if I took this off.
It's free, believe me.
But this.
I think they're doing it because it doesn't apply that frequently.
Right.
There's very few people that are really, need it.
And that helps justify the premium.
Yeah, but when we need something removed, we don't need, maybe premium will be less.
Yeah.
Yeah, the things that would drive the premium would be the building items. That's what's driving the premium.
Yeah.
And to some extent the deductibles too.
Now, for example, lock replacement.
Yep.
Is that referring to the locks on the gates, the lock on the front door, or other locks?
Any lock the association's responsible for.
We're not responsible for the locks.
On the gates.
No, or the front door.
No.
I guess
We're not responsible at all.
We're not
Yeah.
responsible to replace your front door lock nor your gate lock.
Yeah, we're not.
So that's.
Well, but it's, like he said, it's all built in.
It's all built in, you're not getting
But
charged
if
for it.
So
we drop a
there's no
few
point-
of these,
there's no
wouldn't it
point.
be reappraised as far as
No.
the annual?
No, there's no point in
Because-
haggling over that
And this
because
is
they're not
called,
going to
this
change
is
it.
listed as a condominium association up on the top of the page. This is also based on HOA?
Yes. Yeah, in your case, the HOA is very similar to the condo association in terms of the way that your documents read, the way that the buildings are, the way the community is.
Okay.
Okay, that, page 6, we kind of already talked about. That's just a
Yeah.
summary of where we get to the total of 103 million. Page 7 is,
But we're taking 4,000 off there.
yeah. Page 7 is an equipment breakdown policy, and that is a separate one. And the equipment breakdown would come into play where there was a mechanical breakdown to equipment that damages itself or something around it. And again, you're responsible for that. So really, I'm thinking of anything with pumps and motors. And the pump equipment is an example of something like that. I know at my HOA we have the irrigation system, and one pump is $7,500, and we
Well,
had,
and we pay to have that done, so you're telling me we're insured for that?
yep, so penny, and there's a 5,000 deductible. So depending on the extent of what happened, but
And so on a year, 5,000 per year or per incident?
per incident, yeah. So
That covers the pumps
if they mechanically fail, and
just for any reason, if they were.
yeah, that's the funny thing. It's kind of like you got to get the pump guy out here, and then say what happened, and they could say, well, it was lightning, power surge, we don't know, but yeah, if they certify this was whatever damaged it, then the company would pay it. The only thing they wouldn't pay is it's 15 years old, it's end of life,
Okay, that's-
that kind of thing.
So-
But if it's something
Again,
like that's
if it's an
unusual,
event, that if it gets struck by lightning,
Yep.
we have a storm, a tree falls on
Yep.
it.
If you have a storm and all of a sudden there's lightning in the area and the pump's not working anymore, you call the guy up and he says, I can see it burned,
Yeah.
and then, this
David,
would
check
be a-
and see what we spent on those pump houses this year. Per incident. I mean, did we ever go over 5,000? I can't recall. I think one was pretty expensive.
One was expensive.
One was.
One was.
But they weren't caused by an event. It wasn't struck by lightning or.
yeah,
that's-
things
I
just
thought we had
wore
to
out.
replace the motherboard on one, which would
Right.
indicate to me it was either a power surge or a lightning strike.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Right.
they don't last forever either.
No,
Well, I
but
understand
we
that too,
change
but
it too often.
I've been around the electrics long enough and
Yeah,
worked in it for a lot of years.
Let's review that.
But I'm happy to, you know, put in
Yeah,
a
let's
claim.
Yeah, well, let's review it.
If-
Let's review it
Yeah,
because we did sink a lot of money into the pump houses and
I think it was
replaced
over
the pump.
7,000.
Yeah, yeah.
But you said the deductible
It's
is.
five.
5,000.
So if we can get a couple thousand out of it,
Hey,
that's,
we just knocked 4,000 off this, we get 2,000 back there, come on,
Yeah,
It's good.
So much money.
it's good.
That's page 7, and page 8 is the D&O policy, directors and officers. This one is, what we're able to do is bring down your costs last year. I remember this one was something like $12,000 with Lloyd's, and because there was some claims history and whatever, but this company agreed to step in, write it at a better rate, which is a normal rate that you should be paying based on the community, and they went with a $10,000 deductible, and this renewal, I asked them to do a little better, and they could do a $5,000 deductible, which gets you normally everybody's got a $1,000 deductible on these. So we're on the right path, you know, and this one here too, they had an option for another $100 at the bottom, cyber liability, $100,000. I added, you know, that in to include it for $100,000 for $100, and that would be that whole cyber issue that's going around where, you know, personal information could get stolen, or you could have a virus, you could get hacked, and it's really more about your unit owner's personal information that could get compromised, and it's saying, well,
Is it unit owner or we don't have office?
Yeah,
GRS is responsible for the website.
yeah, we've
That's
got,
right, GRS is the
they don't
website.
have an office here, so
Right.
they've got
Right.
no
Yeah, but we don't need that.
electronic storage here for their stuff.
That's our property management company's job.
Yeah.
and on your policy, are you going to be able to, if the claim would come in to say some unit owner had something happened and it traced back to the association's data, which is under GRS control, so now do we say,
No, we don't have connection.
Oh, no,
our owners to.
No, but what he's saying is,
You're saying that if
Wait.
you have
if we have
private
a
data.
lawyer comes and gives a letter that says, we're, you know, because the unit owner is Village of Sandalwood Lake South, that's what's on the letter, it comes to you, but then GRS has you're saying the insurance for cyber claims, then are you
We're
insuring?
indemnified with the policy that would be under the association.
Yeah.
We do carry above that corporate insurance for cybersecurity as well. But the breach of data, if there is a data breach, obviously the association would have to carry some type of coverage for their own homeowners in the event, because we're indemnified by that.
But everybody who has Comcast, who has AT&T, everybody responsible for own cybersecurity. No, we don't responsible for any.
No. It would have to be
We have no office.
data that the association has.
We don't have
in other words,
office.
our personal information that they have, like for the aged report.
But the insurer, they have own insurance to protect
Well,
that.
like I just said,
Yeah.
we're indemnified with your policy. People do a lot of crazy things to get data.
But
And so if they-
it's not just that particular item, there's a few things that could happen, but does anybody on the board log into any of your
No.
bank accounts
We're not.
and do anything like
We
that?
don't do.
No.
Okay.
It's the treasurer.
Because then you've got password issues, or, you know, if you pick up a
Right.
virus and then they've got, you know, information to be able to get into your bank accounts.
Do we have access to bank?
Yes,
Bank protect.
yeah,
So
you do. The treasurer does.
So there's a little exposure there with regard to compromise.
well,
And they-
both Randall and I, both of us do.
Oh, you do too? You can go in and look at a balance of an account or something, okay.
But none of your.
From your home,
Like
from
it-
your
You
own
haven't
personal,
set up anything, so you're.
No, we never,
Bank
I have.
responsible.
but from your own personal email, you
Bank
are-
bank is responsible. It's so.
I have
Right.
established login.
But if it were compromised, we would need to be insured because
How you can be
your
compromised?
first,
Because of bank responsible for that.
no,
How you can be compromised?
but they would have hacked into Randall.
Yeah, so you could have an email that comes to you and you click on the link and
Right.
you get a virus and then
Right,
it does
right.
go
If they
and
go
reach
to
out and do things.
Okay, I just.
There's that and
How
then
much it cost us? How much it cost us?
Like I
extra.
said, it was $100
$100
for 100,000
divided by
coverage.
524 homes, it ain't a problem,
I
right?
just think it's a good thing to have for $100
Well,
Per month,
in this
per
day
month
and
or per
age.
year? Per month or per year?
per year.
Per
Per
year.
year, no. I
No,
think
instead of
per
this
month.
policy being $2,700, it's $2,800 for
Right.
the
Okay.
D&O that includes this option. It's just an option they came out with recently, that they have this.
Okay, and I have
Okay.
one quick question on that page. It says automatic coverage for property manager.
Right.
Now, doesn't GRS, don't you protect your
He has
property
his
manager?
workman's comp insurance, but if there's any liability on the property, again, that covers a lot of different aspects. If he's sued personally on the property, that he's indemnified by the policy for the association.
Okay.
But we have
Okay.
already liability coverage. If he suppose trip on trip and fall, it means we already have insurance liability. Like we have already these problems. But why we extra carry
Well, this is
manager?
under director and officers,
This
and
is- this
he's
is-
neither a director nor an officer.
No, but he's in charge of acting out what you tell him to do. So
Okay.
he's an extension of the board.
Okay,
So that's why when things, come in as claims, this is really liability claims where the lawyer sends a letter and nobody's physically, at the hospital, it's more of an issue where,
Oh my God.
their value of their unit got decreased or, I wasn't treated fairly, that kind of thing. So if he wasn't treated fairly, and usually the claims, like the lawyers, they name everybody they can, right? So
It's a
gonna be-
shotgun effect.
Yeah, exactly. And it's shotgun, and then what we're looking at here is not really say the claim, but it's like a defense.
Right.
Do you have this company that you can send it to let their lawyers deal with it versus your own? So that's really why we're
Yeah, it's cheap.
yeah.
Cheap coverage, okay. Move
So
on.
when you're flipping on to page 9, that's where the premiums are, and I've got the first column is what you paid last year
Right.
for these, and column A is with a 5% hurricane deductible, and B was a 3% hurricane deductible. So in the marketplace, the rates jumped up a lot this year since May. It's commercial insurance with property. It's the effect of the hurricanes, the Michael, the Irma, the Harvey in Houston, the floods, the wildfires. It just kind of,
This year.
yeah. For the last 3 or 4 years, we've had lower and lower rates, where now we're going back up the other way to go back to where we were maybe 5 years ago. But it's just they've done it, and so I wanted to let you know I did shop around. And I got these results, just a list of who we checked with between my broker and other companies. The big company too here, Heritage is a big condo HOA company, and they were unable to compete with the pricing. There are a couple companies that have a maximum of 100 million limits, and you're just over 100 million. So I think next year, if you did do that adjustment to your documents, and you got the limits down less than $100 million, then we could have a couple more companies that could quote. But some of them are just out because it's too big. Too big. Can only do up to 100 million, or you don't have that capacity.
All right, I have a question. What about this roof maintenance program that we're paying and spending a lot of money every month to make sure our roofs?
Yeah, that helped a lot because I remember getting the info from David. The underwriter was concerned kind of when we, in January, February, I got a copy of the contract, sent it to them. They were really interested in when were the roofs going to be inspected, have they been worked on. So it gave the underwriter a lot of confidence in being able to, to know that your roofs are in good shape.
But
Yeah.
anyway, they're raising our insurance even if we have a roof maintenance.
Everyone, it's not,
It's the industry, the
If we
insurance
will
industry.
eliminate something
It's-
what we don't need, maybe it will be less.
well, it'll be a tad less when we take that 4,000 off, but other than that, we have
Super
it
security.
reduced.
Yeah, so overall, I don't know if we want to look at it with all the policies put together, because I'm saying last year,
Is there any companies there that do purely HOA and do not do condo and HOA?
Yes, when we talk about mostly HOA, then that falls into the category mostly of single-family homes, and the HOA is in charge of the clubhouse and the pool, and they're not
Okay.
insuring the buildings with that. They're
Okay.
insuring the common areas and the clubhouse.
But we
and-
pay for that through the POA, so.
Right,
yeah.
so to me, an HOA is the opposite, where you've got single-family homes, and then you've got all the common area with the buildings, like, and that's the HOA insurance, so they have property as well as liability. You're more in tune with what a condo association would be insuring, you know, the buildings.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
don't-
they're very similar. I mean, it's
Yeah.
your docks, and you need the same kind of insurance coverage.
But a homeowner in a HOA, like Bear Lakes or somewhere, if they need a new roof, they have to pay for the roof. We don't have to pay for our roof. We're insured. So I
So,
guess that if we're more toward condo, that's probably better for us.
So I don't know how your 2018 budget was, you know, for all insurance, but I know that, you know, when I came in with, no, we were able to make some cuts that saved some money.
Right.
I know there was the liability, the GL went from 40,000 to 20,000, so we were able to, you know, cut some there. I know that the D&O was 12,000 before, and I got it down to here around 2,000 something, so we save about 10 there. So unfortunately, yeah, so what you were paying 2017 to 18, you know, kind of the year before I got here was 353,000 total for all of it. And then when I came in last year, I'm looking at 314,000.
Are you
So
sure
that's
it's
the savings.
311 here?
No, I'm just comparing,
Oh, okay.
that's going forward. I'm talking
Oh.
about 2017 to 18, and now 18 to 19 was 314 for everything.
Oh,
And
well,
so
you've
now
got
what you
for
need to
18,
do-
19 here, 311.
But we're not including the general liability and the umbrella that
Oh,
renews in
okay.
May.
Oh, I got you.
So
Then
add
it's just-
21,000
Yeah.
to this number. I'm just giving you the annual, if you went with the 5%.
Yeah, so if we went with the 5%, under property policy American Coastal, expiring insurance 1819, 288, 406. Option A, 5% is going up to 314, 368.
Right.
So it's going up 12, 24, 26,000 a year.
Yeah, but the footnote, however, is it would have gone up. Option B is what you have now with the 3% hurricane deductible.
Right.
So
Well,
I added the
we're
5
blessed
to
in
say
that we're
let's.
not really in a hurricane area, thank
Right,
God.
right.
You know, I mean, we are blessed with that.
Yeah, and you probably had a 5% in the past, you know, because
Yeah.
they've come down
Right,
in some time.
right.
Um,
And also, we're not in a federal flood zone, which is good for us. So, or at least that's what I've been told. And Chris is nodding yes, and he knows.
Okay, so we need to decide, I don't think we're gonna get better rates anywhere.
Yeah, checked all the companies for rates. Yeah, and you have time. I don't need decision
Yeah, right,
tonight.
right,
We got
right.
about another week. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's due on December 2nd, so you really have another week. in
Well,
order
but we're
to-
not meeting again, so we need to,
Okay.
Can we do it by email, or you'd have to ask Ross?
can't vote by email,
Okay, not for this?
not for this. So,
Okay.
not for, exactly. So my thoughts are go with option A. If anybody has any other thoughts?
Well, I lean that way because we are really not in a very dangerous or very threatening hurricane area.
Well, that plus our roofs have been certified
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very good. They're
Well,
strong.
and we
they're,
have
you know.
poured concrete foundations,
Right,
walls, roofs. I mean, when you have a house that's poured concrete, there's no wood on it, no, you know, I mean,
No, the
there,
building structurally is
Is
solid.
terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're not
Now,
going
I have
anywhere.
another question. A number of the buildings, a number of the units have accordion shutters and some have hurricane glass. If we could come up with a number, would that help? Or do they look at it as an overall package? In other words, if we could say that 25% of our buildings have hurricane glass or shutters, would that help in any way, shape, or form on the premium?
But everybody has shutters, I think.
Well, a
No,
lot
I
of people
don't. I've
do.
never had them.
But
30
most,
years.
Most people
Might help slightly. What the company asked for and what we supplied them with that wind mitigation reports.
Yes, right.
But as I was going through them today, about half of them are going back quite a few years. So we got 2011 for a bunch of them, and then 2016.
No, we got, oh,
'Cause-
they should all be 2016.
Yeah, what I had on file is some older ones. There were 69, and the funny thing was when we were first talking about sending those to me, the first ones I got, I think were the newer ones. And then I said, I'm missing some. We got the policy issued last December with these, and then in January I got the rest of them. They were the older ones, and there's 69 of them, unless there's two files somewhere, because these are dated 2011. So
I've-
would be better if you had
11 would
100%.
have, Sally would have had those files.
I've got all the 16 ones.
So
You
would,
got 131 16 ones.
Yeah.
So Larry, to answer your question, one of these, features that they have here is the opening protection. So when they do these wind mitigations, that's what they look at and they'll certify. But it's per building, so 100% of the openings. So the sliders, the doors, the windows would all have to be hurricane rated, not just this unit. There's 4 in a building. This guy did everything, the other people didn't. That kind of thing. So
okay, but the glass on the sliding glass doors is the homeowner's responsibility.
Right.
You want to replace your front door, they give you
Right.
$150 toward the cost of a new front door. So why would the association be covering something that's the homeowner's responsibility?
I'm not saying covering it. I'm saying to get the
Oh.
credit,
It's for hurricane
credit.
protection.
to get
Oh,
a
okay.
discount.
But
Yeah.
because it's the homeowner's responsibility, we can't force them into doing it.
We can't force them, but most people want to be protected
Yeah,
during
the
the
most
storm.
people has hurricane shutters.
You can motivate
Yeah.
them, in terms of bringing, information to them or getting a contractor to say, if you wanted to install, retrofit this kind of a shutter panel, we're doing the community, you're going to get a discount, sign up, and then you get interest and say, okay, we've got 57 that want it done, and those 57 get their hurricane, upgrades.
Mr. Rocket, but most people have it. I can go and make a list how many people has shutters.
Not,
But what
I
he's
mean, on
saying
my
is,
street,
if there's 4 units to a
not.
building,
Handful.
3 of them have shutters and 1 doesn't, the building's exempt from the discount.
Understand.
Because
Right.
But
one opening given way could
Yeah,
cause
right.
destruction to the whole building.
Right.
but if we have most building all 4 sides covered, it means maybe they can reduce our fee because
If we could come up with a number of buildings that all 4 units have them.
Right, right.
But I'm all for
Alright.
it if you've got,
Okay.
more information that will help.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Do you have hurricane glass?
So then,
Do you have hurricane glass?
I did bring the documents if you're prepared to sign, tonight, obviously, or I could leave them, that need to be signed. And then last year you did do premium financing, and I kind of mirrored the same thing that you did last year for the structure of that. And this could be changed if it needs to as well.
Yeah, that's all.
So, yeah.
Well, I think we need to get it resolved tonight because it's due on the 12th
Okay.
of December.
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
Says
Second.
second.
Second, that's even
Yeah.
Yeah, you got about,
That's
about
next
a week.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
can we really go through and remove something what we don't need or not? Maybe something else we can remove to make it.
Natalia, we
Yeah,
went
yeah.
through everything.
I understand.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we're going to try to work on to get it reduced further is that $40,000 at our annual meeting.
Right, right.
So for now, we got to have coverage.
So we're just removing the 4,000.
And we can change
and that's
this
it.
at any time.
We can
Once
modify it.
Once we know that we can do that, and we do it, then he can
And the premiums will be
reduce the
adjusted.
premium.
Right, right, we can modify, right.
All right, well, I'm in
What did
favor
you
of
budget?
option A. Anybody else?
I'll second it.
Can I ask a question real quick before it just came up? Because it's written this way in the budget, question come up. If you do go self-managed and you have to provide workman's comp insurance, which isn't on here, have you guys discussed?
It's not as a line, but it's in the budget. It's accounted for.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so I made a motion for option A, Mary Lou seconded it. All in favor?
Yes.
Randall,
Aye.
Okay, so
unanimous.
what do you need me to sign?
Where the tabs are, where the highlights.
What did you have, I don't have the budget in front of me. How much did you budget for next year for insurance? Now I do.
350.
Oh, is it in my big packet you gave me?
And there's pile of right here.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it.
I have an extra I was using. Anybody
I
needs it?
haven't.
Well, that was mine.
It's yours. Okay, thank you.
I'm going to save this one because I saved mine from last year. Just to say, yeah, gotta have a history.
Second that.
On the unit
I did.
owner side of things, I brought a few sample quotes. I don't know, we've been contacted and gave out some insurance to some of the owners. But I don't know if there's a,
Can I have,
if
can I have one?
there's a way to circulate this. This is like an attachment that can be emailed out too. And these are fresh quotes. Which
Yeah, but
means
this insurance will not cover any appliances, right?
this would cover appliances.
Will cover.
And I
Yeah,
think
this is
part of
for
your contents.
Appliances and
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and this is Trish Springer, who's our,
This, Randall, I'm
Expert
still
in
not
that.
seeing it. On our budget that we're going to vote for tonight, what was the line item for insurance?
$373,000.
How much?
$373,000.
It means,
So we're a little
373.
below.
So we're below with 319.
Yeah.
well,
it means how much?
hang on, that's the total though, but you're
Yeah,
gonna have
but
to
you
add
gotta remember
21,000.
Yeah, well, that's what I want, that's what I want to know, what we're
The
adding.
financing,
Financing, yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
That
so,
adds 5,000 in finance charge.
all right, so for insurance, you had 378?
373.
373? Okay. And now we're voting 319 plus
21.
21. Okay, 10,
That's
4,
340.
340. We're still
And
under
add
budget, which is
5,000 for
good.
the
Why?
financing.
Oh, 5,000 for the financing, okay.
That should,
So
be the
345,
total.
so 345 versus in the budget 373. So you have a little money to play with in the budget there. Put it somewhere else. Or we lower it from 350 to less per month for the homeowners.
We just figured on roughly an 18% increase on top of what we paid
Yeah,
this
that's
year.
your workman's
Total.
comp
So the-
insurance too.
Huh?
He's bringing up, workman's comp is not included in that figure.
I might be,
If we self-manage.
We're
Yeah,
talking
if you-
about.
But if we
we're
don't
talking about
self-manage next year.
$3,000. I've already gone through the
Yeah.
figures.
3 or less, 2 to
Yeah,
3 probably.
yeah, yeah.
Plus there's there'll be other minor costs that we have to add to, an insignificant amount.
So we have 28,000 there.
So, David, you think you've got all newer wind mitts on all the buildings?
Yeah, I've got all of them from 2016.
Okay.
I'll send them to you.
So yeah, I don't know if you need to, I don't know where they are, but I could send you a list of the ones I have on the old one. You rather send 131 or would you rather send me 69 new ones?
I think that's what the issue was when they were being sent.
I got some,
Some didn't.
yeah, but I ended up getting them all.
Will be
But I got
Yeah,
69 of them that were the
for some
older
reason
ones.
They were the old.
Yeah, take this then. And this is
That's the
one of the old ones.
It means
Larry,
inside.
These are the ones I didn't
Larry.
send new ones of.
Right.
First of
That's-
all,
why
But there's
is
69 of them,
self-managed
but I don't know if
being
you've
brought
got
up
them sorted that
constantly
way.
by David?
Inside.
We haven't
Or
made
somebody
that
at your office
decision
could
yet.
look.
Well, it's just saying that's the limit is 75,000.
they will not
And
cover
actually, that's
175.
another topic for the unit owners, that this form,
Probably would, but pay
the wind mitigation form was updated 2012, that's the last one. And so if you go to get insurance on as a unit owner, they won't accept the older form anymore. So you get no credit if you have that one. You've got to have something newer to get the credit on the, because the homeowners will be able to use this.
There we go.
But it means it will coverage until 75,000,
Do we have
correct?
that form, Dick?
For this insurance.
It's got different sections to it.
That
Yeah,
form?
Yeah,
That
for
he's showing us?
75,000, it's for
Is that
what?
in here?
it's for
For the homeowners for wind
the
mitigation?
building items,
They
the
go for
things, the
insurance?
cabinets, the countertops, floor and wall coverings,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
fixtures, your lights, everything attached to the building.
Attached, yeah, but personal property
That's
is
everything you can
appliances.
move out. That's everything you can move
It's
out.
very good
All your
insurance, I
furniture.
think.
Did you want to do,
Yeah, because-
take a look at this financing option?
I've had the same.
They can be
policy.
changed too,
The
because
same
I just
company
used what you did
for
last year,
years.
which was, last year you did 74,000 down. I put 75. The interest rate's the same. So if you wanted to put more or less down, I could revise that. And the more you put down, it lowers the financing cost a little bit. So it all really depends on how much you want to put down.
What do you think?
Oh, I mean, that's it. Put down as much as you can, to knock down.
Where could we get it from? Where are we gonna take it from is what I'm
Oh,
saying.
that, you gotta be careful with
Well,
that.
it's already-
You'd have to have Ross tell
It's
you.
already budgeted, so,
Yeah.
No,
But you-
actually, I didn't put any because it supposedly, and I know that had to be wrong, but it was 7,000 was budgeted last year, and it doesn't show anywhere that we used it. But I'm sure we used it somehow, because obviously we paid it. So I had just put 0, but it's, we're talking 7,000 on last year's amount.
Some more quotes here.
well, yeah, but last year, we gave them a single payment to 75,000 as a down payment.
Yeah, well, we do that again.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do that down, you could do more or less. Some associations, they just say, give me like 12 equal payments, and they're only putting down 1/12, but then their finance charge is high because they're financing more,
Right.
so. I'll get you back all copies of these
Okay.
Okay.
documents.
So the more the down payment is, the lower the interest charges.
Right.
Yeah, because your principal is
Yeah,
what's subject
yeah.
to financing.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
All right,
No,
no,
thank you.
that'll do it, and I thank you for coming to the meeting tonight.
Putting up with
Anytime.
us.
Anytime.
If this, if somebody wants insurance, interior insurance, very good insurance, by the way. You want to cover somebody want to copy
Did.
this from,
Yeah.
it's not
So
expensive.
we're gonna, oh, that's right. Okay. All right, next, I'm gonna let Randall introduce another lady who wants to give us an introduction of her, brief introduction. We know she has family commitments. So go ahead.
Oh, and Jeannie Smith.
Hi, Jeannie.
I'm Jeannie Smith. I own an accounting company. We do bookkeeping and accounting for local HOAs and small businesses for the last 20 years. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's accounting. What do I say?
Well, and you have a website which our homeowners could go
Oh,
in and
yes,
look at
yeah,
and
the
study
homeowners.
it,
David.
and understand you
Give
better.
that to David, please.
And we did vote to approve
Yeah.
Jeannie at our monthly meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we
Okay.
welcome you. As soon as we finish getting our act together, you'll start.
Absolutely.
And I'm Larry.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry,
Thank you very
Larry
much.
Bacco, President of the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you,
Thanks, Jay.
Jay.
Natalia Franklin, a member of the board, and of course, you know
Yeah.
Randy.
It's Randy.
Okay, and
One
then
is
Joe
missing.
Costello,
Joe
who's
Costello
not
is
here,
missing. Yeah.
he's the
Vacation
other
in
member.
New York.
Yeah.
Hope it's not icy.
Okay.
Or maybe I should hope it is.
All right, well,
We ran really long here with the
Yeah, 1
insurance
hour.
agent. So really, as far as, I just wanted to let you know, because I would have been in touch with you anyway. that I want to, tonight, want to talk about the transition
Okay.
and, how we're going to get that going. I did get, a roster's owner list so we can
That's-
get,
yeah.
and I wanted to kind of show you how I can get you, invoices so you can start seeing, the accounts, getting those set up. So I'll be,
Okay.
I'll get with you. So I just wanted to meet tonight to talk about a couple things and how we're going to do it. So
Yeah, and if she wants to come to next month's meeting, we can put her on the agenda early so that any questions that we have and Randall and you can clear up, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay, and our meeting next month is December
Third Thursday, whatever that is.
The 19th.
the 19th.
Third Thursday of the month, every year.
David
Unless otherwise
knows
noted.
everything.
Third.
Third
Because it's on
Thursday
the
of the
agenda.
month, and then it's been that way since this place was built. Since the owners took over.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, we won't keep you because
Okay.
I know you have commitments, but thank you so much for stopping by, and I apologize that it took a
Oh, no
little
problem.
longer.
It's nice to meet you all.
Jeannie, we'll put you first on the
Okay.
menu
Oh,
next
yes,
month.
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Nice to meet you.
bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on. I'll do my president's report here. It's not going to be that long tonight, but we had one resident who wants to put a handicap ramp in and wanted to know if the association could do that. Well, of course, the answer is no, we can't do it, but this person can do it, and they have to pay for it, the installation. It has to be properly identified and lit up at night so nobody can trip over it. And if the person moves, they're responsible for putting things back to the original condition.
Now, by a handicap ramp, you're referring to like the walkway up to the gate?
Walkway up to the gate, right.
Oh, see, she should have bought my unit because the walkway it rises right up to the level of the patio. It's a little ramp, a
Yeah.
concrete ramp.
Okay,
Yeah, she
and
didn't get
the other item of importance or significance, I should say, is our documents are working. The changes are working. I signed off on 2 sales today,
Yay!
Wonderful.
and as soon as I see all sold as is, that makes me look at who's the seller, and they're both LLCs.
Great.
So, and both units were purchased. One was purchased by a woman who's planning to live there, obviously, and another one by a Chinese couple. So, it's working. We're getting and these aren't the only 2 this month. There's been others. I just
Yeah.
brought these because I had them today. So, it's working, and it's going to help the property values in the long run. They're selling these units at $130,000 each as is, so you know they didn't do much to them.
Wow.
But take the money off of them.
But just so you all know, we have sold some at $191,000.
comps.
Hmm?
That hurts
Yeah.
the comps.
No, I know it hurts the comps.
Oh, 192, yeah,
But-
yeah.
182,
Yeah.
192.
Because they're in beautiful.
But
It's
we have
a
plenty of
rental
homes that are
reduction.
in
It's
the-
very good.
I-
Rental reduction.
I think 130 is
190,
too low
200.
even as is, frankly,
So,
in my
but
opinion.
this will bring it down slightly. but-
Person wanted the LLC wanted to get rid of them.
Yeah.
130 is cheap, even if it hasn't been modified.
No, I
Because you
know.
could put 10,000 into it and
Well,
have it
you
looking
put-
fresh.
If you put 30,000 into it.
Yeah, 130 is too low. Those LLCs, they wanted to dump them.
They want to get rid of them.
You're right, that's what's going
Yeah.
on.
They know now that it's not, this community is not a dumping
We're
ground
not
for
renter friendly.
LLCs. Yeah.
Multiple renter friendly, let's
Yeah.
put it that way.
Okay.
I can't wait
All
till we're
right,
down
so-
to 30% again. Oh my God.
Let's move on to the manager's report. Well, treasurer's report. Let's do the treasurer's report.
Well, there's really, I was going to use my time to talk with Jeannie when she's here, but plus I didn't get the financials till yesterday.
I know.
She was going to change.
We've got
So
to get them
I just,
sooner.
yeah, I just don't have the time to go through them.
Can we vote for budget?
What I could,
Why don't you email us all the treasurer's report? So,
It's
you know,
It's,
put
well,
your, thoughts together. And
But we can talk about,
Well, what you can do is the budget. We want to approve that tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
let approve budget, yeah.
let's talk about the budget. Was there anything that jumped out at anybody on the financials? Other than what I saw with the interest? Other than that, did anything else jump out at anyone?
I haven't had a chance to.
No, I only looked at a few pages at lunch yesterday and today.
Here, if you want to.
And I just saw the
Got
one.
Okay. Well, I mean, the budget seems to be just the way we, approved it at the last meeting, so, is anything jumping out at anybody that they have a question on?
Remind me again, Randy, which of the three budgets we picked number?
The $351 a month.
That's right. Okay, thank you.
So the assessments are going to remain the same, and that's one thing Anita Speller asked me about yesterday. She said when I was out getting signatures to get the documents changed, it was to hopefully bring down the assessments. And I said, well, it's hopefully that's our goal, but right now we have a lot of concrete work that needs done in here. And
the fence is being done.
and the fences are being done, and the community's looking better, and she complimented us as a board. She said, you guys are really doing a great job.
Good.
So,
This is a homeowner who used to serve on the board. I had the pleasure of serving with her.
And
yeah,
that's kind of what's keeping them at the rate that they are, is the concrete, just the big ticket items that we have. I mean,
Yeah.
the concrete.
Yeah.
Well, I
You have a
think
half
just
a-
the fence is all one color when you drive down, I may not like the color,
Talking
but
about
just
the car.
driving down Village,
everything's uniform.
well, it looks so much better than our two other communities,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, we'll vote for budget, guys.
Okay, so if nobody has any other questions and everybody's in agreement,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve this budget as written.
Natalia, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay,
Here,
budget approved.
you sign it. I'll sign it, then you sign it. And then hand it
Can
to
I say
Dave.
something before manager report? Did anybody come to 65th Way? Did you see how beautiful work this
I
company
checked it
done?
out, yes.
And special thanks to David who found this amazing company. Plus, on top of that, if you tell them to make cuts on concrete so it's not break in future. And they did it, they did a fantastic job, and it's
I
absolutely
know, I haven't
amazing
had time to go and
how
look.
it changed, what David working with us, it's so much good changes,
Thank you.
and thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
also, I think.
We're gonna let David do his manager's
Yeah, I was just
report.
gonna say one quick thing. I think the fact that we kept the maintenance at the same, it's, I think that's a very positive thing. I mean, yes,
Especially
if you
when
live in
we-
La La Land, you want it to be lower. But
Right.
practically speaking, to keep it the same, and only a few dollars more than it was 3 years ago, I mean, I think we've done a good job on that,
And we avoid special assessment. This is what, this
And-
why
and
we
we're-
don't
we're
loan,
doing
so
our
don't give
best, yes,
special
to-
assessment.
by keeping it at this, we didn't have to do a special assessment for the fence restoration, for example.
For concrete.
Because,
concrete's
well, but
expensive.
with the fence, we used up the entire reserve. And that's why we're transferring interest and some things into the fence reserve to finish up. We still got, a couple of more months of that before it's finished. So that project was paid for without assessing. And now we're doing the concrete, and it's a 4-year plan, basically. We've said we're trying in that neighborhood to get all the
Should
concrete
be-
repaired
it should
throughout
be
the
less than that,
community. And try not to have to assess everyone. That's our goal.
Yeah, and then what we're gonna look at in next month's meeting, and everybody can give some thought to this, is a 3-year plan for concrete repairs so we can get everything the way it needs to be to prevent lawsuits and trip and fall hazards, so.
And just ugly also, by the way.
Yeah, so we've
Yeah,
started,
it's such a difference, and it's look, people come this, it's a
I have to go look at it.
looking community.
I'll
It's
try over the
raised
weekend.
the value of property.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
it's
that's the
amazing
goal. Our
what it
goal
is, yeah.
is to get the real estate values up, of
right,
course.
and our goal is to get $351 a month from everybody in here, and our
Yeah.
receivables are way down.
I
Oh,
know,
yeah,
I saw
half of
that.
It's
I saw
amazing.
So
yeah.
we're making progress in that area as well, because it takes everybody paying their assessments so that the community can be kept up. So, basic economics. All right, David, go ahead.
Okay, fence project, I'm still looking for a replacement for Landell. I've approached several people, they're not interested in picking up something that somebody else started. It's not worth it to them. So I'm still looking for somebody, maybe small,
Yeah, one-man company.
independent. Well, we want more than one man doing it.
Well, no,
Yeah,
but,
that's what I'm looking for. The ones that I know of weren't interested in it. Mark and Randall are doing phenomenal over
A little
on,
correction on that part.
yeah.
You got that Markas doing 55th Way, he's on his second building on 56th. So,
okay, so there, and how much, you're almost done with 56,
yeah, I got 2 more buildings.
2 more buildings, so,
So
okay.
56 will be done
But I'm
shortly.
saying, he just finished priming his second building on 56.
Can you
Okay.
add people
And also one
to your
other
company?
thing on there too, it's in
Could,
November.
what I've been asking and begging, sorry,
It should be on November, financials were sent. You meant October, right?
Yes.
All right, just wanted to clarify.
David, can they add some people to help them, like another couple people, talk to Mark,
That's,
to make it faster?
so that's, no, I'm in favor of Mark
Mr.
hiring
Walker, why you
someone
cannot-
else.
why
I'm
you
in
cannot
favor of
involve
Mark hiring
the
someone
repair
else.
fences?
well, it's,
That's up to Mark. I
You-
mean,
Yeah, but have we asked him? Have
They
we
can
begged
hire,
him?
you have everybody.
Well, have we begged Mark to hire a third man, a second man besides Randall? Somebody else?
somebody that can help him with the painting. Randall's doing.
I've asked Mark if he knows anybody that he, is qualified, that, can, either come in and give a bid as a contractor, or if not, then come and help him paint fences. But, the one or two that he does know are busy, they just don't have the time.
I can't believe there are
And
people
quite
out there
frankly,
looking
he
to
doesn't
make
want to
money.
give up the money. He's not making that much money. So he's not going to give up the work to somebody else. He doesn't want to.
It
Like,
may-
he hasn't said that to me, but I know that that's the
It
case.
means we must pay more to the company if he
So
hire another
that's
people.
why we need to get
Oh, but we
somebody
lose
else.
the other company.
Great work. You're doing great work.
Oh, Mark is doing great work. No, Mark and Randy are perfect. But
But
the
we-
other
All right,
company quit.
let's hold our comments for
And
this.
we have to get another company,
Let
David.
Dave finish his report.
Sorry.
Go on, carry
Go
on,
ahead, David.
okay.
as you were.
Landscaping. I've contacted 5 landscape companies. They've all been out to the property except one, and he'll be out on Monday. GRC gave me a quote at $195,000. The other 4, which are Islander Landscaping, Florida Image Landscaping, Arcos Landscaping, and Mike Pacheco Lawn and Tree Service, are all working on proposals right now.
Okay,
They've all
now
been
I
on
have
it.
to jump in. Florida Landscape is a terrible company. We fired them years ago. We don't want them back. My opinion, but be happy to research it. Florida
You
Landscape
mean
worked for
Florida-
us.
Florida Image?
Florida Image, sorry, because we had Image Sprinkler and we
Yeah.
had Florida Image. We used to go crazy with the 2 names.
Has anybody noticed anything
So forget them, in my
with
opinion.
Brightview?
And I can give you
I kind of
the
think
2 presidents
that's
of the
pretty
board
good
who
right
worked
They,
with them.
I think it is. I've got issue with the quality of the
no, they don't
grass
do a good job.
mowing, but I took George around the other day and showed him everything, and he said he was going to send his guy back and go over, because he agreed once he looked at,
I just noticed, like, in the past week or so, it's looking a lot better.
I was gonna bring
which I
that
had
up
told
tonight.
them, which I had said early on, like, give them a chance. Not that I'm that much in favor, 'cause I mean, as you know, did not want to vote for this company because of
either.
their price. But since we did get them on, and they were struggling at the beginning, give them a chance to,
But they
get
still-
acclimated to the property. And now, in just the last week or so, I'm starting to see it much improved.
They still cut the hedges too short. We told them,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
cut, they cut again.
And they cut the Eureka palms a little too
They
low
boxing,
here and there.
they did,
Because
oh my
keep in
God.
mind, if we get another company,
Learning curve
There's
starts
gonna-
all over again.
starts
But
all
they
over
promise
again.
us be on the property
But I
all the
wanna tell
time,
you
but they do
something
enough
that happened
service the
yesterday
same like
and
the
today.
Takatibal.
I think,
But I'm not all the time on the
I
property.
think the problem is twofold.
Okay.
The companies are in it to make money, and they try to get it done as quick as possible. That's one problem. The other problem is I sometimes think we expect too much from the companies.
But they promise us.
Well, I agree.
If they promise, we
They
expect
made
what
it
they
sound
promise.
real
They
good,
BS.
but
Yeah, exactly.
Big time.
They lie
But
to us, it's all. Why?
I look at other communities, and quite frankly, they don't look any better.
But we need to
Okay.
make
So
better. Why
we're
this?
gonna be looking for landscape companies
Forever.
forever.
No,
We
no,
don't
but
settle
we
on
need
one.
try.
But
We
may
need
I
try to
jump in
fight.
about what happened the last 2 days?
All right.
Okay, because 2 homeowners on 51st experienced this. I go to work, so I didn't. First day on the calendar this week was for, cutting the lawn. What they did is, and you can just take my front lawn as an example. The guy with the mower, he stands on it, the stand mower, he only did around my tree, and he cut only to about this is my driveway, he only cut up to about here, and he left about this much of my lawn, this way of driveway, parking space, this way the driveway, uncut. He did it everywhere on 51st. And second day, they came back, and a different guy mowed it who was doing the edging. So for 24 hours, we had half our lawn cut, and it took 24 hours for them to come back, cut the rest of my front lawn, which by now was up to like 4 inches, which is fine, but it was so much taller than what they had cut. And then that guy cut and did the edging. And 2 homeowners said to me, who are original owners, said to me, "What is that? We've never seen that before. Cutting half the grass?" And they did it from the lake also. They did up part, but from you to me, from the lake, Randall's the lake, and this is somebody's fence, there's this whole area of grass they didn't cut. And then they came back and cut that and did the edging. Why?
To me, it seems like they don't have a good
I don't think they have a big enough team.
plan for cutting, for the way they want to cut. In other words,
Yeah, yeah.
the strategy that they use to get it all.
Yeah, but I will say this, because I made a point of doing this today, before it got dark. I found the edging to be much cleaner, sharper looking. I found the tree bowls to be much cleaner. They're looking good. All the ficus tree bowls, or whatever you want to call them, I call them bowls. And so I did see, however, what I saw that I didn't like is they topped off some of the Eureka palms, and you can see part of the Florida Power and Light, which and God knows David and I talked to them more than once, that they're to allow them, they're only to show the house numbers and the light, and nothing
But in
else.
65th Way, they did not cut top. It's covered all
Well, that's what I'm
lights.
saying. I think they have 2 teams working the property, and I think one team maybe is getting it, and the other team is not getting it or something.
They probably they don't speak any language.
Well, there's
Who
one
will
guy who
explain them
speaks
anything?
English.
I don't know. They never learn.
Yeah, there's one guy, and if I've spoken to a couple of them, and the first sentence is in English, and then the minute I ask a question, then they say, "No speak English." And I go, "Oh yeah, really? Were you just..."
David, maybe you need to talk to the supervisor
Yeah.
and tell him that they finish an area before they move on to the next area.
Right. I mean, 51st should have just been done, and don't come back 2 days, do half the lawn, and come back the second day, do the second half of the lawn. It's weird.
Well, how, you're saying the guy that's on the stand-up mower is doing it, but the next day, the guy who's doing the edging is cutting the other.
Well,
How-
no,
How is it being cut the second day?
with the stand-up mower, but he's
Oh.
come back and just doing this space like this wide, and then right behind him is the guy edging. And then along comes eventually the guy who blows.
Right.
But I don't know why they're cutting,
And then the guy that cuts over near me uses a riding mower.
well, that's what I call a riding mower, standing, where he's
Well, no,
standing on
he's
it.
sitting.
No, there is a couple
They've
different
got
ones.
different size motors.
Oh,
for
mine,
different
he
areas.
stands, he doesn't sit. He holds on and stands.
But Mary Lou, we really need to look at maybe we can find better company, but because this
Well,
company from next year become more
The
expensive.
same thing I said about an
It's-
ACA
they
last
liars.
year. I felt we should have kept ACA till the
Oh,
end
no,
of the
no.
year, given them their last chance, which would have been 3 months. And I feel that way with this team, this company. Let's give it, we
Till
only
the
have
end of the year.
5 weeks left in the year,
Oh, yeah,
whatever it
that's
is.
it.
Let's give them to the end of the year, give them their final warning. Look, shape up, guys. We're still not seeing this, this, and this. And come the January meeting, if we're still unhappy, then we say no
But
more.
Mary Lou, it means you want it sell that our managers stop searching for another company, or what do you want to say?
No, because
No,
don't
he can keep looking.
He can keep looking, okay.
But,
because,
but let's not waste what little time we have tonight and our December meeting on landscaping. Let's
Okay, okay.
concentrate on some more immediate issues.
Let's give David
And,
what he
because I don't
will do.
think it's, did your neighborhood look decent today after they, or this week? Your grass and edging?
Not bad, I had this, assuming, all of 63rd.
David's
had
got his
and
manager's report.
left all the clippings there till the next day.
See, that's insane, so they blow all over the place.
You're right
Okay,
about that.
let David to
See,
give
that's what we
report.
can't
Mary Lou,
have. That's what we can't have.
David has manager.
All
right,
right, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, David,
Okay,
finish.
sorry.
Concrete repairs, Shenandoah will be finished this week. We have to discuss, how we're gonna proceed from there. They would love to work with us on this 3 or 4 year plan. They were definitely the cheapest out of the bunch that we had got proposals from, so,
And they're doing good work.
Very good, very good.
so.
They work it, don't have to take even lunch.
Now, I'm gonna talk quickly about the trees. Please don't interrupt so I can get this
No,
out
what-
and done, okay?
You know how I feel about them. I'll be
Okay.
good. I'll be good.
Randall, Natalia, and I inspected all the trees on the list. We picked a couple that were hazards to water and sewer lines to be taken down immediately. Mary Lou is still concerned about the one on 51st Way that's close to her fire hydrant. So we kind of we figured we could toss that one into the mix. Take out 3 of the ficus trees. And then we had I don't remember what kind of tree it was, over on 50th Way.
Right,
Bottom brush.
No, not the bottom
No,
brush, the
no.
one with the beehive in it on 50th
Ah,
Way.
it's okay.
right.
That's dying and it's hollow and it's got a huge bee's nest in it that we've paid twice to get exterminated and they keep coming back. So the tree's gonna have to go and it's leaning for badly. The other one is a dead Royal Point Sienna, 66th Way. And then 3 bottle brush trees that are dead. One on 64th Way, 2 on 65th Way. And that's the trees that we're recommending that we remove right now.
Yeah.
Okay? Also recommend, I think the 3 of us came up with pretty much the same, we need to start planting trees also. Our recommendation is to plant trees that are fast growing and trees that keep their leaves year round.
Wonderful.
I know it's not easy. We have to get with a good arborist and find out what's best and what's going to grow fast. We don't want any more trees that we plant 6 feet high and 3 years later they're 7 feet high. We want something that's going to
Well,
actually give us,
The live oak is one.
yeah,
It's fast growing, the roots go straight down. I can give you a
Yeah.
list of 5 or 6 that.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about it.
Right.
But
Now, so
that's
you're
our
saying
recommendation for now. So
one dead royal, 3 dead bottle brush, the ficus by me, the fire hydrant,
Three ficus trees.
and 3 ficus.
One-
Where, what
One on
streets?
53rd, one on 54th, and one on
51st.
51st.
Okay, okay. Now, here's the thing about replanting. December, January, and February are not the ideal months
Well,
to plant.
I realize springtime is when you want to plant,
Yeah.
right before the rainy
Right, so
season.
March would
Yeah.
be
But
when to plant, and I
to
think,
start planning,
selecting them.
figuring out what we want, how many
Picking
we
them,
want,
Picking them,
have a plan set in place so that come
come March 15th.
March.
They can be done, okay.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, so we want to vote on removing what you just discussed then.
Yeah.
So 3, 6, 7 trees. 1 dead Royal Point
8.
sienna, 3 dead bottle brushes, 4, 3 ficus.
and the one with the, I don't remember what kind, the one on 50th Way that's got the beehive in it.
Oh, right, the beehive, okay.
So that's 8.
150th beehive, okay. Whatever it is.
So
Okay.
as far as the ficus, we're including the one on 54th that
Yeah,
wasn't
to
marked.
54th. Yeah.
Yeah.
and-
Well, that's kind of on the corner, the building is 50,
You remember
it's
that?
on 53rd.
Okay.
It's the one that's right by the
By the
sewer manhole.
Right,
That one, the one by the
valve.
backflow meter and dumpster, right between the two, and then Mary Lou's.
Oh,
That's
the
the-
fire hydrant?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She-
okay, and then I think when we talk replacement, which we don't need to talk tonight, but I think we need to bring some color into the community too, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree. And here's the thing too, as far as the fire hydrant goes, we're not gonna be able to replace a tree there. That
No.
Yeah,
makes
no,
no
no,
sense.
no.
But right across the street by the dumpster, where there used to be a beautiful tree that was cut down several years ago.
Can we replace your
Would-
tree?
Yes, and I have the tree I'd like to donate.
Yeah, yeah, you did a tree we planted.
I have a beautiful
And
tree,
then most of the other ones, by the way,
yeah.
are a wait and see kind of thing.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah,
add the concrete, see what's going on down there, maybe just cut the roots and not take the trees down.
Well,
Right.
yes, and let me say this to you, and you all know this.
If there's
The-
roots
the-
actually
the-
there.
My driveways, my 2 parking spaces have cracked again. They're totally cracked and they're coming right from the grass, right under the concrete, heading toward the lake. That's exactly what they did 10, 12 years ago when the ficus was cut down. So I know that those other ficus by the mailbox and by the dump, that the 3 by me are all a problem. But I don't want to see all 3 cut down at the same time.
Yeah,
No.
But before we do concrete repair on 51st, we need to discuss the trees.
Well,
those
I
other trees,
think
So
what
we'll
we
see
need to
what-
do is tear the concrete up.
And find the roots.
See what is causing, it may not be roots. It may be that they didn't compact when they did the repairs. They didn't compact it properly and driving over it caused it to crack. If you're seeing lifting, most of the time,
No,
that's from
yeah,
the
these are
roots.
just deep cracks.
These are just deep
Deep
cracks
cracks,
where you're
right.
at. May have
But when
just
you
been
can see
formed.
the roots, but you can see
Because
the
red
roots, you can
walls,
stand
because
and
we
look at
have
the
little
root of a
guidelines.
ficus,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it disappears right at the driveway
Yeah.
or the parking space.
but that tree's gone, right?
No, I'm talking about the other
The other
two.
one.
But I think the fire hydrant one is the one that is, to me,
The most concerning for you.
concerning because we'll get our you-know-what's sued if, God forbid, there's a fire and the hydrant doesn't work because it's
Yeah.
been corrupted by roots. We can't take that chance. We can't.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we vote on removing these 8 trees, and then in the spring, decide on what we're gonna replace them with
Well,
then.
by spring.
By springtime, yes.
Okay.
Ideally planting about March 15th.
Correct.
Unless it's snowing.
Okay, so that's the motion. Anybody second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
passed. 8 trees. Passed.
All right, and then you'll notice at the bottom of the agenda here, concrete repairs, discuss and vote. That's not exactly the way I wanted it, but it gets us to the point.
Did you finish your report, Dave?
Yeah, that was it.
Gets us to the point is that we need to establish a 3-year plan, as I stated earlier, for concrete repairs. And David's going to be instrumental in making that happen because he knows what areas need to be addressed first. And he's going to give us a list starting from the worst to the should-bes. to the definitely need replaced to the should be replaced, and then we'll work on it and decide how much we can do each year.
And may I ask a question? Will this research you're doing and anyone who's going to oversee it with you will also take into consideration the drains,
Yes.
that are on
Yeah, just
several-
like up by Natalia.
Yeah, I mean where there are deep cracks
Yeah.
in
No,
the
they're
concrete,
all-
deep
yeah.
holes around the drain.
Yeah,
And
it's-
I
Natalia's was horrible. They used to have a pond around that all the time.
well, and what
Now
I'm
it's-
concerned about is somebody
Oh, now it's
every morning and
amazing.
Now you
night
can't
cars
even tell
drive
there's a
over.
drain
Oh
there.
my God, did you see how beautiful they did?
It's-
Wow.
Well, and the same with ours on 51st. Cars drive over the drain and it goes clunk, clunk,
Yeah.
clunk, clunk. And all I think of
They
is,
repair it, but somehow they did not use that concrete. Now these people use such a strong concrete. I took video
well,
recording.
mine's,
I will make
it's 35
show
years
everybody.
old, that drain.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
never- the
and they
concrete's
did
never
that.
been
They
done
made
there.
it now. This David told them to cut, they make cuts so it's not
Right,
not was
right.
solid, huge piece, so it not crack in future.
Yeah,
It's-
I mean, I
it's
know
all-
we have trip and falls are a big concern,
Now it's-
but I think the drains are a concern
will
too,
be
'cause the
another
cars
50
driving over
years.
them.
The whole,
Yeah.
everything comes into play on it.
Okay, all right, good, all right. So you're not just looking at trip and falls, you're looking
No.
at a broader
No, it's-
picture,
I'm looking at
everything.
areas that are dangerous, I'm looking at areas that are,
potentially
Could be.
dangerous. Yeah.
In future.
well,
in future-
some of these drains, you get the water around the drains, it's
Yeah.
gonna erode
Yeah.
and end up with a
And
collapse.
just
So
hearing them, the cars driving over them and the clunk clunk, and all I can
Okay.
think of is that drain is gonna collapse and we're gonna have a lawsuit, you know. that's-
Okay.
Right.
What-
Okay, now, in addition to the concrete repairs, I just want to add that Natalia's area has been corrected, and the sidewalks that we own on North Saratoga
Right,
are all being done.
okay.
But are you sure that we are responsible?
We own that, yes,
You're
that's
sure,
not the
right?
city. We own it.
Uh-huh, okay.
It's
So-
Cumberland that we don't own, right? Along-
It's Cumberland we don't own,
Yeah.
or Village, we don't own the
And,
sidewalks.
yeah, we don't own the sidewalk.
But the
village.
Saratoga South we don't own.
We don't own that, we just own anything north of Cumberland on Saratoga
North.
is on our property and we own it,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
okay?
But they doing sidewalk very good. They're doing good. Sure.
All right, so we'll leave anybody who's attending the meeting as a member tonight. If you have questions,
Yeah, as a GRS, I'm the vice guys, my name's Robert, I'm the VP of GRS, and I'd like to get some clarification on our contract. You budgeted tonight and passed a proposed budget, including the replacement or the self-management piece here. You've also proposed with someone in attendance to take over your accounting. We've yet to be notified of any of that. Are those intentions or the fact that that is happening?
we have to give you 30 days notice.
It's not happening until next year.
Well,
I know, but 30 days
Well,
is coming
yeah,
up
well,
soon.
Yeah.
I want to discuss tonight, we really haven't gotten to it, but I could talk to Larry afterwards about drafting up a letter, and I was going to be on that by tomorrow. I was waiting for tonight.
what is your intention?
Intention?
Yeah. What is your intention? Are you asking us to stop the accounting? Or are you asking us to stop all management after?
No,
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 just the
you're
accounting.
We asked him to
independent
stop.
accounting.
Well, I-
Self-managed, let me explain. Self-managed, we pass the budget accordingly. There's enough money in there for not being self-managed, but we put it in there because if we decide it's not going to happen in January, it might not happen at all next year, or it could happen in September or August.
February.
Quite honestly, with GRS, I was more comfortable with CAMs. And I'm going to speak, I'm very candid, I don't pull punches. I think you guys are really too big to handle us the way, CAMs did a better job.
So,
David does an outstanding job as a property manager. Don't ever doubt that for a minute. I'm just talking about the overall function. We try to get information. I know Randall tries to get information. CAMS would have it to him in no time. and I understand you got a lot of properties.
It's not that. We onboarded all the CAM's portfolio, so there was a process to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So
we lost the.
We're changing, we're migrating a whole different operating system to the GRS. You're working off GVault today?
Yeah.
Who's approving GVault?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those two.
That's one of the enhancements to getting all the invoices populated. So today you're approving a budget paying $20,000 to an accounting firm. We're charging
Actually, less than that.
We're charging you 29, which is including of all our administrative support.
It's actually
So-
less than that.
Okay, but how are we supposed to support your administrative requirements here when it's more than just accounting?
Well, I asked you for a breakdown, and that's the breakdown you gave me.
And then I sent you another email, wrote down that,
Yeah, because you thought that, since we're going to do this, you're trying to make it sound like.
no, let's go back.
No,
Let's go back.
You want
It's
to break it?
$29,000 a year, which includes all admin support, bookkeeper, AR support, and regional VP support. That's the original email I sent you.
For financial and accounting, and that's
Right.
what I asked you for.
Right.
And that's really all I wanted to
Which
know.
includes admin support. Every time there's an application that needs to be processed, every time there's an architectural change that needs to be processed.
That has
late
nothing to
fee,
do with financing or accounting.
It's administrative. It's administrative, which is what I sent you.
But we,
Okay, then why did you include that in that
I did.
figure? I
I
said,
did.
why did
Mary
you?
Lou, why we need accounting?
Because you
One
wanted to
extra
break down
fee,
between
extra
management
eyes,
fees
how you
and
say
the
it.
accounting
Why you
and
don't say
admin.
that?
Financial
Natalia.
services.
All right, let's have some quiet so that Randall can discuss.
And financial services is what I asked you, how much of our annual,
I have the email right here.
Yeah.
And I broke it down for you. It said $29,301
Mhm.
includes all admin support, bookkeeper, AR support, and regional and VP support. So you
Okay,
contracted
great.
office to do just accounting, but you're forgetting that figure included the support that we charge at the
well, really,
office.
Mr. Cabrera,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because we want to do this. So, however you want to slice it, this is what we're doing.
Okay.
So,
So
if
and
you
that's
think,
fine.
so if you think you want to then charge us $1,000 minimum for these costs that you're saying is included in, because I guess how I'm taking it is that you're I don't know, commingling is the right word.
Yeah, listen,
but
guys,
you're
listen,
putting,
the reality is, we reviewed our business plan. It's
okay, the
difficult-
reality
it's
is,
difficult
I
for us to
didn't
work
hear
with.
from you.
Yeah, it's really difficult to work
Oh,
with.
look,
Until
let's
the
not
day
get- let's not-
after.
let's keep calm.
Well, because I was speaking and you just want to keep speaking.
All
No,
right,
could I
Randall,
jump
come
in
on, keep
and
the
make
cool.
say
Let's keep
something?
our cool here.
Could I just say something quickly?
Yeah, all right.
Because Randall and I went out and looked at, and interviewed and talked to potential accountants. I can tell you, and Natalia will agree, and Larry will agree, the pure reason we want an independent accounting company is to have another pair of eyes on our financials. That is the guts of it, okay? And every time I've served on the board in the past 25 years, we've had an independent accounting company.
Sure. I
Because
support
to
that.
have one corporation doing everything doesn't give us a third party that can,
That's what audits are for every year.
right,
To
but,
audit your annual
right,
financials.
but we want an independent accounting company. We have voted and approved it and hired her, and we
We'll-
were
we'll
going to
make our
give you
decision then.
30, we were going to give you 30 days
We will
notice.
as well,
right?
We will as well.
Okay,
Okay.
you're going to leave us?
We may have to, yes, because
Oh,
it
why?
just
Because
doesn't,
we're dropping accounting?
because there becomes a whole layer of work that's involved when you have a third-party accounting firm and your residents are still contacting us, how we charge.
No, we'll
How
have
we
an
get
email,
paid.
we'll have a website.
Ma'am, you don't know the internal workings of inside office support to the community.
I
And
do,
without
that's
having,
okay.
but without having the accounting piece, it becomes extremely complicated and very, very time consuming.
Well, that's interesting because some of the other companies that were our property management companies had no problem with us having our own accountant. No problem whatsoever. So I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm glad I had the attention of the board, thank you.
Okay.
Would you agree?
And
Okay,
we have just time for the homeowners, yeah, that are here.
any homeowners have any?
I have a question. How many autos are each unit allowed?
2.
How many?
2,
Two?
full-time, 2. Any more than 2, they need to be reported.
I see 56 waves, some people have 5.
They're there.
And you know why? Because they probably have 10 people living in the unit.
Right.
And that's another reason why our water bills are out of sight.
Absentee landlords, LLCs, like you said before.
But would you be
So nothing
kind
can
enough
be-
to, yes, you can
Joe
report.
promised to
Let me
check
explain to
about
you
our
the way
water
our
bill,
regulations
something.
are. If you report it to David, okay, to GRS or whatever, you report, give the unit number, and if you can, without feeling awkward, get a couple of license plate numbers or that are parked in guest spots right alongside that unit. But be sure that they're there for like a week, 10 days. You know, it's not just a daughter visiting or a grandson.
David knows, I've given them
I
plenty
know
of
which one
numbers.
is one of the ones he's talking about, and they have arrangements with other homeowners to park their extra cars in their seconds for parking.
That's not allowed without the permission of the association. And if we don't know about it, then their cars could be towed for illegally parking.
We don't get in the middle of
Yeah.
personal agreements between homeowners.
Yeah.
If they want it, they have to request it in writing, if they want to switch spaces.
And give us the make, model,
And
and
then
license
we
plate.
have them sign a paper that if either of those two leave, they go back to their original spaces because the next person may not be willing to switch spaces. So they
But we
can't
also
just.
have to have the make, model, license plate number of the car
Right,
as well.
right.
And there's so many cars, and some of these people park in the driveway.
Yeah,
Okay,
in the
now
shade, to be in the
Oh, yeah.
shade, under the trees.
No, just
No.
blocking it
On the
half
side
the
of the-
time.
on the
Well,
Almost
those
on a
could be
daily
towed,
basis.
those could be towed. Those could, if you have a car parked on a daily basis in a driveway, we could just have it towed, period.
Well, they don't park all day,
Oh,
they're like in and out, but they, instead of pulling into a space, they
There.
park right in the driveway.
okay.
And those
So you have to maneuver around.
You sign and date those
We
plates,
can
that's
put,
the
we can
minutes.
put a warning on the car and give them one final warning, and if that car is parked in a driveway again, it will be towed, period. We've done that over the years. It'll help, but your eyes are helpful, because we
But
can't.
it's not like
around.
every time there's an incident, David can come and correct it or.
No,
see
no,
it
no,
or
no,
whatever.
no.
It's,
But if you
know,
report it to
it's-
him, call or email or reach
I've
him.
towed a
I
couple
do.
of their cars,
I do.
and the cars change, and the cars, the
Yeah.
only one that doesn't change is
Yeah.
that
It's
old
so-
Chevy that's under the
Yeah,
cover.
there's an old car that's been there forever.
Well, I have that on Bill
Never-
Burns on
never
51st.
moved.
That's in Leela's spot, and she's okay with it.
Oh.
That's Chris.
John,
Is that fine? Leela gave permission and these people can.
No, because
park
we
there?
don't know. Did we give permission?
Indefinitely?
Did we okay
Well,
it?
first of all, like I don't like the idea of multiple cars, but it's nowhere in our bylaws that the association can dictate whether or not an owner can give permission to use those spots.
Exactly. However, our documents clearly state that every unit may only have 2
Well,
cars.
No,
So
no, actually it does
Oh,
not.
please,
Listen, let me say so. I've been
please.
trying to get this done
It
for
says,
a long
it
time.
says you
It says
only
we
have 2 parking
spaces.
spaces.
Yeah.
It doesn't
for
say
two-
that we're not only allowed.
You don't park in a guest space if you're a
I
homeowner.
understand that. That's why I would like to get our documents to
Okay.
change
Well, we can-
verbiage to
we-
say.
we can do
and
it
then
in-
when we have, approvals for sales and approvals for leases, that during the interview, that they understand there's only 2 cars allowed.
Right,
Period.
right.
I do sales in other communities,
Yeah.
and if they divulge the fact that they've got 3 cars, that association asks them, well, what are you going to do with the 3rd car? Because you can only have 2. And then they have to do something about it. So, but in our case, our bylaws say that we have 2 assigned spaces.
Right.
I wish it would also say that you're only allowed to have 2 vehicles.
No, but if they have child in family, we cannot say them have only 2 vehicles. If they have
But,
child.
so that's, I know it sounds like it's understood, hey, 2 assigned spaces means you only have 2 cars. But I wish it went a little bit further.
I
to-
understand what you're
you know what I'm
saying.
saying?
It elaborated more. No, I understand.
And it does say that the guest spaces aren't allowed to be
Yes.
used for a permanent,
Yes, they're for
thing.
guests.
But going back to my original point is that we can't dictate to an owner. If I only have one car, my space, I alternate because of shade, summer, whatever. I alternate the space. But if I want to let somebody use my space, I sure as hell can. Nobody can tell me I can't.
Yeah.
Providing you notify the association
Why?
the name, the make, model, and license plate number of that car that you don't own that you're allowing to park in your second space.
Does it say
What?
that anywhere in the
Yeah.
docs?
It suggests
No,
it.
it doesn't suggest it.
It suggests
No,
it
it
because
doesn't.
of
If I want to let
because of the
somebody,
2-car rule. You
it's
understand?
not a 2-car rule. It's a 2-space rule.
Right, 2 spaces per
That's different
per
than 2
unit.
cars. And we don't register our cars to the association.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Is there a reason why? A lot of places have stickers.
Well, we used to do that
Yeah.
So
back
if
in
you
the
go
day.
around, you know exactly who
We
doesn't
used to
live
do
there.
that, and we've discussed, kind of bringing that
In some
back.
places, you can't
But-
park backwards. You have to
Right.
park front.
Well, that
We don't
used to
have
be
that. We don't have
that used
that.
to be enforced here at one time. You couldn't
No.
park, but yes, I've gotten something on my vehicle saying I couldn't park backwards because I'm used to doing that. Because they can't see your tag.
Right.
Yeah, they
right.
changed that though.
You can't
Yeah,
see your tag
yeah,
in the
yeah.
registration. But there's our neighboring associations are implementing a whole parking thing that's really got
The
people.
sandalwood boot cars,
Yes.
Well, Sandalwood Lakes is starting to do it. They're implementing it like in the next 30 days.
Yeah.
But it's a whole system
But not us.
where you have to go online, you have to register your vehicles, and that's information like, talk about cybersecurity. That's the first thing that came to mind when he was talking about insurance. That's a possible data breach, that, or a risk as far as data, because all those people's information, their driver's license number is, in that system, the cars, the tags, all that kind of stuff.
because we had a car there with expired tags, expired for 2 years and sat there all week. Someone off property or had a friend there, oh, you can park it there, no one's gonna say anything.
But that one that was way back in the
Yeah,
corner across the
yeah.
road.
Well, we just towed one out of, what way was that, David? For the,
65th Way, 65th.
yeah, we know about them, we towed them.
Yeah, right. He almost had his trailer towed.
So if you see it, contact David and we'll get it towed.
David can tell you.
David do anything, yeah.
Well, the
He
red
carries
Mazda,
his
I went,
shoulders.
Oh yeah,
told
that
that.
red
And
Towed it?
no, he
Oh.
had
They moved.
expired plates. He changed plates. I can't run plates to know if he put legal plates on.
They moved. They actually moved.
All right, well, listen,
They
we're out,
were the ones that just.
Okay.
Yes.
we're over our allotted time. We have the room till
I was
8:45,
gonna
so.
say, when you were saying about GRS, we might have to leave. What does that mean?
That means give notice to the community.
That GRS will leave.
Correct.
So cancel GRS to what?
To whoever the board wishes to choose.
Oh, okay.
Our property management and our staff belong to our company.
Now, I want to get back to that for 1 minute. When you say the support staff that goes with the accounting and having homeowners still contacting you. I get calls from homeowners saying, who's this GRS? We call, all we get's an answering machine. Nobody gets back to us. What kind of service is it?
Yeah, this
I
is the
get
problem.
plenty of complaints. Nobody can get through to you.
I myself so many times tried.
Well, and
So if we're paying for that, we don't want you as our property manager.
Larry,
Makes it easy.
excuse me. Every time I call, I get through. If I might not get a personal call, but I leave a message, they get back to me. I email, they get back to me. I think this company's doing a great job.
I gotta say that happened too, because I called, and every time I called, someone answered. Melissa, I don't know if you know. I had problems with my payments twice. I mailed my check on the 2nd. They got it on the I don't know, the
Lucky day.
18th. I don't know why it's taking so long, but they're cool. Like, don't worry about the late fee. We'll do
Right,
this. I mean, they're really
migration,
helpful, right? You know,
There was a lot of,
right.
Listen, again, we Like I said, we acquired a company, we believed in the staff, we kept every single person. Our goal is not to change contracts overnight.
I thought Jennifer Marshman is gone.
There is some attrition, obviously, as you
Well,
know.
she was our financial person.
Okay, so.
I miss her. I used to talk to her on the phone regularly.
No, but what we say with David, he right away answer. David is person who, if you write in 3 minutes, you got answer, even email or some. Yeah, we don't talk about. We talk about another. We call to your main number. That is the problem. Yeah.
What's the name of the gal that was
There's
Sheila
a
that I
website,
spoke
you
with?
can certainly.
Sheila, the one in accounting that I talked to who was so
Yeah.
nice.
You
Sheila,
got,
yeah.
I
Because,
got that.
I mean, we still don't know
Okay, yeah,
That's
about
your-
yeah.
But
the
I tried to
net
click
means
on
of
it.
payments and all.
You know,
Next week is December 1st. We haven't locked in yet. GRS hasn't confirmed with you, right? On the
Did you
payment,
put
the
in
various
everything?
payment
You get a
choices.
password? You
Yeah.
put your
The monthly
username,
maintenance
they give
payment,
you-
has
and
that
then
been
you went
totally
through the
resolved
process?
yet?
And it said,
With
yeah, I got
GRS?
that far, and it said I would be getting an email soon.
It didn't
No,
get
the
you back?
monthly
It didn't
our
send you a
maintenance payment.
notification with your login
Well,
credentials?
No.
Check your
Have
spam,
they
though.
now
Just make sure it
agreed
is.
Oh, yeah, I did
that the
that.
auto
They walked
debit
me
will
through
be
that.
done at
I think
BB&T
it
or
was
wherever you
that.
want it
Oh,
to
did
be
you
done?
have
Has that
somebody
been
call you?
set up?
Yeah.
Because
It's
it's
a
like
good idea.
GRS,
Nothing's
INX,
changed.
something like
Nothing
that.
has
you know.
changed.
Somebody
Even though we
just
got
email.
that
The
letter
only
saying that.
Email.
Nothing
Email.
has changed. The only thing that was going to change
Yeah.
was between CAMS's platform and GRS's platform. If you want to ask
Their
Mr.
bank,
Cabrera,
their bank, yeah.
it's how they, it's the program that they use. CAMS had one, GRS has theirs.
But I'm
You wanna ask
talking
them
about
to
the
explain it,
ACH,
please,
the auto
you know.
debit, because we had gotten a letter in the mail and email from
But
GRS
after we will change.
that then David
with
said
new
to ignore
account.
because
We
it
change
wasn't
one, we change
totally
Why
right.
we don't change
But-
They can change anything.
But the thing that we're
Nothing has
concerned
changed.
about, and there are
What's that guy's name?
a lot of us, including
Robert
myself, who have
Cabrera.
done auto debit
Robert
since it was
Cabrera.
introduced to the community.
Robert, I have a
And
question.
ACH. And-
Yeah, so you can still set up ACH through the you have to fill out the form for ACH deductions.
But why? We've never had to fill it out. We
It's a
didn't have to
fair-
fill it out with CAMS. It
Right.
was auto, it just happened. It just
Okay, just the
continued.
process, you're changing over companies, right? So same, our operating system that receives all the payments and updates ledger automatically with a copy of the check. You didn't want to
No,
change
no
bank
checks,
accounts. You didn't
no
want to change
checks,
bank
no
accounts, so we can't
checks.
do that.
Auto debit.
Okay, so.
And about 100 owners that every month, I never think about, the third of the month, it's deducted, done.
Right.
And
So-
this month it happened on the 4th, which was fine with me. But Randall's the guy that is,
But you're using the same banking institution.
well, you had
So
wanted
there's no
to switch
change.
us to another bank,
Right.
but we have said no to that,
For
correct, Randall?
workability of our systems, again, it's all to benefit the association long-term. There's a little pain in the short term, but long-term, it's the synergy between how payments are being made and the updating of the ledgers in real time, so that we have that call that says, hey, did I make my payment? Yeah, here's a copy of your check. Here, it's a big investment. It's something CAMS does not have, did not have. GVault CAMS does not have, did not have. So, and I listened to you about we're not too big. We're a small company that grew up in Palm Beach. It took us 30 years to get there, and we managed 240 associations from Naples but 90% of our inventory is in Palm Beach County of the association.
All right, Robert,
Yeah.
if we take our accounting to a separate accounting firm, won't the calls, the support that you now handle, when people call in, has my payment been received, or whatever the questions they ask, shouldn't that stop going to you and go to our accounting
It's not
company?
just that. It's how we're accounting for payments that if you have to work with the attorney, estoppels that need to be issued, which need real accurate data regarding home purchases, and when that happens, there is a trickle-down effect that affects the inner workings of the management company when you're not controlling any of we can't see what someone's paid, we can't answer those questions. Everything has to go back to their accounting firm. If we receive a payment, it's got to go to the accounting firm. If, our own invoices that we need to get paid on, if there's a fee, we got to go to the accounting firm to get payment. It's extremely cumbersome, not just for us, but for your homeowners. And that is a big transition for them
Not
as
once we
well.
notify them, not once.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
But
All
how
right.
we did before, how we did before.
It is.
We
It
had
was
to
very
set
Okay,
up-
so the next
It was
question,
set up, it was-
as far as handling the sales and leases of the property, isn't the charge that we authorized you guys to charge, and we don't even tell you how much to charge, doesn't that help offset those costs? Like $125 for an application and $100 for this and $100 for that?
Do you guys run backgrounds on people,
150.
or?
Yes,
Okay, there's a fee for that.
right,
obviously.
so, yeah, and
There's
we
expenses.
don't collect a fee,
And
you
there's
collect it.
administrative costs to process that, and there's administrative costs to
But
receive that. and put it
Isn't
in the
that
system.
why you get the fee and not us? We don't get the fee.
Yeah, it's part of it. Part of it. There's a bigger picture in administrating to the association to be the end-all, be-all for their questions, comments, processing applications, as you said, answering questions, which we're only going to have a smidget of information for because the accounting isn't being taken care of by us. We can't use our systems to best serve your people. And because of that, it becomes extremely awkward and difficult.
How we did before.
We've done it
The
before.
majority of our cost is going to
We've
be to
done
pay for your
before.
property manager.
Before we had this.
As a company, how are you
Separate.
making any profit when the majority of your cost is paid for the salary?
Well,
of
I
your
know,
property
but
manager?
when you took over CAMS, or when you merged with CAMS, however it worked,
Mhm.
David, we was his only property. Now he has two other properties, so
Good for
doesn't
him.
that help
No,
offset?
but not good for us.
He
But not
needs
good
to earn
for
a
us.
living. I'd like to make sure that
I
he
know you
doesn't
work your
have,
tail off. I'm not
yeah,
finding
he's got
fault with you.
24 hours a week. Can't make a living off that. We'd like to support his
We have
development
50
and his
hours.
growth.
No, I understand, and I'm all for it. You know, believe me, I
So
want
he
to
can't
see
be putting
David do
30
well.
hours. We should be
We
putting
have 30
24.
hours,
You
not
can't-
24.
No, 24.
He can't be
24?
putting in 35 hours if it's 24.
You're thinking of Edva.
Huh?
He has more. Edva has more.
Ah,
Yeah,
so I
because
thought we
that
have
was
30
the-
hours managed.
Edva has
We
40.
didn't have-
Yeah.
24 hours is what you guys.
Well, we had talked about 30, but then there was some conflict there. I
Well,
forgot.
it's 100 hours a month.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not enough, yeah.
Well,
I want to make sure that he makes a living as he should. He's good. He
Very
should,
good.
He
We're
should
not-
be
we're not-
recognized and he should be paid
We are
for
not
that.
unhappy with David's performance.
Okay.
yeah, he's the best we've ever had.
Well, he's certainly among the best. I can remember when I was
Sounds
there.
like I got some
Fabulous. Definitely.
Well,
Chris,
I
anything
think,
quick? Chris, you're okay? Chris?
I had two items, but if we're running close in time, it's fine.
Yeah, we're actually late. We're
Yeah,
supposed to
we
be
gotta
out of
get
here by
going, but-
quarter of. Yeah, okay.
let me,
All right.
okay, the meeting's adjourned.
Yes.
Thank you.